The PDP has remained a dominant political force in Enugu State, producing governors, senators, members of the House of Representatives, council chairmen, and controlling party structures. However, the Dutch political landscape is changing and changing very fast. New alliances are emerging, voter expectations are evolving, and internal party democracy is increasingly under scrutiny. The big question, therefore, is not just where PDP has been, but where PDP is going, especially in Enugu State. To help us examine this important subject, we have a key actor, a key player in the Enugu PDP political structure. He's already in the studio. He's the Enugu State chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He's a public affairs commentator. He's an analyst, and he's Barrister Steve Oruruo. Barrister, good morning, and welcome to Beyond Headlines.
A very good morning to you, Prof.
This prof, you're touching me. I got to be a prof. Okay, Barrister Oruruo, let's begin with the context. The PDP Enugu State the PDP has governed the Enugu State for the Fourth Republic, from the era of Chimaroke Ogbonni and Namani, the man of the Eban, to subsequent administrations. The party has maintained a strong grip on political power in Enugu State. From your perspective as a state chairman, what factors have sustained PDP's dominance in Enugu State over the years?
Well, like we rightly alluded to the fact that PDP has made itself an impregnable fortress in Enugu. Enugu appears to be the irresistible home of the PDP as far as the Southeast is concerned. From 1998 to 1999, the leadership of Chief Jim Wobodo towered above his peers in the Southeast. And then came a certain Chimaroke Namani who created a renaissance of hope for the Wawa people. He showed, astute leadership and showed, towering power in terms of resilience and perseverance in the face of adversity. Remember, it was a nascent democracy. And he was able to establish his stronghold and build, strong characters, including your own self, in the emergence of our democracy. So with that, Enugu, became very accustomed to PDP, almost synonymous as the only party that they could reckon with. And as a matter of fact, from season to season, regime to regime, PDP won every election before it. The quality of election we had also offered our people, could also be contested in the sense that, our democracy is evolving, and we could see a lot of anomalies in terms of the brand of results we get in our elections. But beyond the facade of that lies the fact that the people of Enugu embraced PDP. Never mind the outcome of election in terms of volume of figures or being bandied about. It was about total acceptance by the people. And like I said, the Chimaroke regime resonated a lot with the yearnings of the masses in terms of providing support and in terms of showing empathy to the public. And then came a certain Soliman Chime, who also tried to recreate the environment, to build Enugu just like the wall of Jericho. He built Enugu to standards and left a lot of flashes of quality infrastructural development in the city. Also came the time of Ifeanyi. As a matter of fact, PDP stood very firm and made sure they captured Enugu as a whole. And even when the tsunami came in the very last general election, now of course almost dismantled all structures in politics, save for arguments that the final outcomes in several places we are not the will of the masses. PDP stood firm in Enugu and managed to also provide and produce a governor for the people. Today, under the watch of the PDP, the Governor Barr administration has performed excellently well. It has left legacies, monuments, and rejuvenated all moribund infrastructure and companies that the old Eastern Nigeria could proudly, boast of. But that was all under the PDP. That's the trajectory of PDP. That's the brilliance, that's the excellence, that's the candor that PDP is known for. That's the scintillating performances we have done over the years. So it was just about the accentuation of that performance. That's what the Barr administration also brought under PDP. It was a consolidation of good performances churned out over the years by other administrations. So this is the story of PDP, and that's why it is so much accepted by the people of the Southeast, as if it runs in their blood. So today that we don't have the governor of the PDP, the judgment of his performance should not be limited to APC. But for all the good things already, we can lay claim to that as people of PDP. We produced the governor, we watched over him, produced the very dividends of democracy, and turned the lives of people.
Very impressive. Very, very, and I do share your sentiments, and I think I agree with you that from 1999 until the tsunami, like you call it, came, PDP has done well. But of course, empires rise and fall. And of course, the PDP in Enugu State witnessed it just at the middle of October of this year, witnessed what now we can manage, the real political tsunami, where the governor, who by every inclination has done well, had decided to leave the party. And he left the party with virtually the entire structure of the PDP. He left the party with members of the DESCOM. He left the party with members of the National Assembly. And so what is left of PDP? Like you are now chairman.
Well, to say that he left the party with everybody is also not true.
Okay.
He didn't live with me.
Yes, because you are there.
He didn't also live with some of the state school, members, of course. And then living with the governor is just a matter of statement. We need to also pierce through the consciences and hearts of our people to know whether they indeed left with him. We agree to the fact. We cannot discountenance the fact that the governor has performed excellently. But you cannot also dislodge the fact that some people are so embedded in PDP that they don't want to leave PDP. It does not matter whom they are going to support. At the end of the day, for now, they love PDP and are standing by the PDP. I know the volume of support I get. I know the vociferous support that people are offering me at the moment. And I know those who are resoundingly standing by this party with claims that they will never leave the party. The party made them. The party provided succor for them when it mattered most in their lives. And they want to stand by the party. Having said this, it is very clear in my mind that the PDP remains the PDP. The PDP will respect the fact and the influence of governors. We respect the voices of the governors as qualitative voices. But it's a struggle between qualitative voices and quantitative voices. The quantitative voices belong to the masses, to the people, to the talakawas, to the serfs, to the plebeians, to the proletariat. That's the quantitative voices. And the last general election showed you that the quantitative voices matter the more than that of the qualitative voices. Without prejudice to the succor they provide, without prejudice to the initial financial aid that the governors can provide and the leaders, so to say, will provide, lies the fact that power indeed belongs to people. Like my lecturer would say, that it's only when the cow allows you to drive the cow that you can see one man, one Fulani can take 100 cows. When they decide to go the other way, they will chase you. So if the masses decide to stand firm, take actions, decide for the good of the masses, for their own good, you see them standing up. But it has to do with the quality of performance as well. What is under scrutiny at every moment is the quality of governance being churned down. The kind of Nigeria we see today, how much are we going to succeed if we continue with one party system? It is very clear that a party system is being surreptitiously or tacitly imposed on Nigerian people by the center. And it is dangerous for our democracy. And I beg to differ completely. If we have a viable and vibrant opposition, it provides an opening for that scrutiny and helps the administration to even do well. It gives you a mirror, it's a mirror through which you can see yourself. And that mirror provides opportunities for you to redirect the course of governance and make sure that what we have is not a state capture. Take, for instance, it took Donald Trump, the President of America, declaring Nigeria a state under watch and providing pressure on the state, on the national government of this country to look the way of security. Despite all the effort being put by the presidency, it was, of course, surplus, or was not enough for the people. But today you can see the speed which the administration is tackling insecurity because a certain man has spoken from a distant place. That's exactly the place of the opposition. It's a job the opposition should have dispatched. But because we have opposition lying low and being forced to stay quiet in the system, then what do you get? You get absolute silence. You get complicity and complacency. You get a disoriented front, a front that cannot interrogate issues, cannot debate issues, and cannot confront the government.
Okay, when the government left and certain members of the ESCO of the PDP left, you were just the last man standing, so to speak, at the top hierarchy. There could be others that are not, in the public domain, but you remained. And so, naturally, as they would say, the chairmanship fell on you. But there are certain fellows also who said that they constitute what they call the caretaker committee. And they are also jostling for your position. They said they have a chairman, that they were inaugurated. So what do you say to people like that? Are they trying to cause confusion in the PDP? It's actually the constitutional issue in PDP in terms of succession if the chairman is no longer there.
As a matter of fact, let us embellish what the truth is the more. On August 2024, I was elected in the state congress, conducted in public there, with all television stations being available. And a certain secretary, national secretary of the party then, Senator Ayam, was privy to that congress and signed. There was no animosity, there was no rancor in the party. The party was having a smooth sail at that point. And I was properly elected in a lawfully conducted congress of the state. And there was never nobody challenged it. No litigation, no challenge, no public outrage, no side talk, no skirmishes of any kind. And when it was time for the governor to surprisingly leave, in the sense that we had had turbulence in the party, I had expected the governor to maybe indicate interest, I would believe it. But he stayed firm and fought in the party, trying to keep this party intact. So at the point I thought we were winning by, at least marginally, it was the highest level of, it was a rising crescendo of hope that things would change in the party. At that very point, the governor decided for his own safety and for the good of Enugu to leave in his own contemplation. At that very point, the natural thing was that if a chairman of the party is resigning, like Dr. Martin Chukwueke did resign, it was automatic that you hand over to the deputy chairman in line with the stipulations of the constitution of the party. Well captured, of course, in section 45(2)(4). And indeed, he handed over, but being a vigilant individual, of course, I dashed to the court seeking protection, and I got an order to be protected in that office. In line with that order, I was handed over to become the chairman. Because I went with the secretary from that zone. Of course, we have 3 secretaries from 3 different zones. The secretary from the zone where Honorable Nadoze had resigned from, being the Enugu North zone, of course, went to court with me. And was handed over in line with the dictates of the court, in line with the order of the court. So at that very point, it was clear that I took over the mantle, and Abuja was communicating with me. Everything that was required for the convention handed over to me in Abuja. From the uniforms to order, I brought that document. I went to that convention. But shockingly, in the convention at some point, about 4 states were dissolved, pronounced dissolved, which was a contravention of the law. And of course,
that was about the convention.
That was about the convention.
Okay.
But I drew up the attention of this fact to Governor Sheimaki personally on the ground. And I made my arguments, and they were very clear. And I was told it to be resolved. if you look at what you have today, has it not been resolved? Any party who is interested in the well-being of Nigerian people and provision of plurality of opinion, options for Nigerian people, will not indulge in impunity. So quickly have been restored again. As the chairman of the party and secretary were restored in Enugu, in furtherance of the law. So having said this, anybody rising as an alternate party in Enugu must belong, the group of persons doing this must belong to that faction whose job is to leave every party dead and cremated while only one party stands in the country in the name of defending the presidency. But it's not true. And I can tell you, the job of their master is finished. Whoever is propelling this, I think the job is finished. The idea was to get all governors dismayed. Get them leave the party for the ruling party. Get the party weakened at every level. And also to create a kind of an elusive dummy on the side of those who want to contest under the umbrella of the party in 2027 election. Get them out of the party. Create a semblance of fear so that they will not run. And leave the party lying comatose. That's the mission. Having achieved all this, because if you look at the wave of departure on the side of the exodus of the governors out of the party, it appears that aim had been achieved. What more are you looking for? Now, it appears that even the leaders of the party are leaving the party, or the owners of the party are taking over the party. The masses are rejuvenating. The masses are galvanizing. The masses are creating a kind of massive support behind the Taminu Tarakesa as the national chairman of the party, to build a party capable of presenting candidates for the election. And the fear of that party is the beginning of every election to come in this country. So that's where we are. So anybody who is trying to orchestrate an alternate system called a party in Enugu is only by trying to find the embers of that disunity implanted suspiciously by the ruling party through agencies and agents of their bodies in different parts of the country, including at national level. How can 2 persons or 3 claim to be National Working Committee? Where is it done out of 18? Those whose time had expired in the party are still laying claim to party governance. It is ridiculous, it is criminal, it is unimaginable, and it mangles all logic as much as it belies all credibility. It's highly unacceptable. But let me tell you what, the Nigerian people are back. The founding fathers of this party, with this current leadership, have decided to take up the instrument of warfare in terms of creating a vibrant party, sustainable party, robust enough to carry the Nigerian people. And they are doing it. Consultations are going on. They've consulted with IBB. They've consulted with Obasanjo. They are consulting with Nigerian people. And you can see that the man at the helm of the office, talking about the current national chairman of the party, Taminu Tarakesa, has got the gravitas. He has got the capacity. He has got the competencies. He has got the tenacity of will, the character to carry this party. And that is the fear that is enveloping everywhere. So as I talk to you now, the party is stable, it is firm. Those who are grandstanding to be any other thing other than the party itself are members of a body surreptitiously or tacitly planted by the ruling party to create perhaps what may look like discord. But that time is off. There's always a beginning and end of everything. So I am not interested in business of cynics, traducers, naysayers, and routine hirelings who are just in hot pursuit of dollarization of our polity. What is the issue is the question of dollars being shared in our country. Who doesn't know this?
Right.
So that's where we found ourselves. And I sympathize with their limitations. They have defined what they are doing. It's limited to pecuniary interest. By the way, it is salient to mention that we lost our party via the instrumentality of the weaknesses of the former leaders of this party. Talking about the National Working Committee members. With due respect to the efforts they put in place, they had lost their credibility in pursuit of pecuniary interest. the party got capitulated by the reason of self-aggrandizement and allowing capitalist mentality to take over the politics.
Okay, sound arguments. We can't fault you on this. Perhaps I may be wrong. Turaki and another group, who controls the party secretariat now? What is the issue in the party secretariat?
Let me tell you something. The party secretariat is not the party. The working committee, the NEC, the BOT, they remain the party. They can sit anywhere and conduct the party affairs. The party secretariat is in the capital territory. And somebody is in charge of the capital territory. And we are, the fight is against principalities and powers in high places. So we are not deceived by the blockade we find there. The party is progressive. The party can get in another office. The party has options we have to see. And the party is flourishing to the dismay of the opponents.
Okay, Barrister, we'll just take a short break. When we come back, we want to talk about particularly Enugu State, how what you are doing to mobilize the people who you say remain silent, wanting to have a directional leadership, producing somebody who will run for governorship in 2027 is very, very critical, or even a leader who stands to say, Steve, I want to hold your hands, or we can run this race together. So don't go anywhere, we're back shortly.